boys and girls, and welcome to the next video in the FCE CAE Speaking series. And now we're going to do part 2. Now, if you're preparing for the FCE or CAE Speaking, you should know what it is. It is this. 2 pictures, FCE, single question, CAE, 2 questions and 3 pictures, but you choose 2. They're basically very similar. And to complete the task, it's done in exactly the same way. CAE, we expect a bit more. Now, basically, what are we supposed to do for this? Now, this is the part of the test where most students shit themselves. They really do, because you get like no time to prepare. The pictures are just stuck under your nose and you're supposed to start talking like that. And sometimes they're very strange. Like this one here in FCE, it's basically like some people looking like at pictures in an art gallery, someone looking at some modern art sculpture in a park. The question says, what do you think the people find interesting about the 2 different kinds of art? They're nice, it's red. It's really difficult, and so many people have a problem with this part of the test. Now, let's talk about like what we need to do, and we'll go through it, and I'll sort of open your eyes a bit to like how to pass successfully. What you need to do, you need to compare, contrast and speculate. So when you like have these sort of 2 pictures, you're supposed to sort of compare them, maybe find similarities, find differences under one sort of idea. You're supposed to speculate, so give reasons for your answer. Now, I'm going to explain something that some textbooks say, and lots of people online recommend this, but I'm telling you not to do it for the following reason. Do not describe the pictures. And some of you go, well, I was told that you can always describe the pictures for the first 10 seconds. You can, and some books suggest this, but the reason I don't like it is because, well, for FCE and CAE especially, you don't describe, because you're supposed to speculate. You don't describe the pictures necessarily, they are prompts. They're kind of ideas in general, okay? Like modern art, no, sorry, like classical art, modern art. That's what basically what these pictures represent. And the mistake that people have when they describe the pictures is that it doesn't last for 10 seconds, it lasts for about 45, and you have to complete this task in 1 minute, which means you've got 15 seconds to answer that question for both pictures. And especially CAE, 2 questions for 2 pictures is not going to happen, and it doesn't happen. And I basically say to students, don't describe the pictures, just immediately go in and answer those questions, okay? Because as I said, the examiner knows what's in the picture. Another piece of advice is when you start the part 2, you'll sometimes see on YouTube some students going, okay, I will choose this picture, for CAE of course, I will choose this picture and this picture, okay? That's 15 seconds gone. You've got 1 minute to prove how good your English is. All you need to do is go, done. That's it. Okay, start speaking, answer that question. All right? So don't describe it, okay? Trust me. Number 3, okay, what we need to sort of do is know the do's and the don'ts of part 2 speaking. Sometimes I find it very sweet when, like, my students at work, for example, like, I give them like a picture and they start talking, and then after about 30 seconds they stop, smile, they're proud of themselves, they've done it, and I'm standing there for 30 seconds staring at them like, you've still got 30 seconds left. Green wall, red like piece of art, finished. No, you have a minute for the examiners to check how good your English is. Do not stop talking. The examiner will stop you after a minute, okay? So as soon as you like try to find your next breath, and in the next picture, thank you, that's what will happen, okay? If, for example, you find that you do stop talking, that your kind of imagination has just dried up, you really need just to think of some other idea, just find some other idea. Oh, and I suppose in this picture, you know, it's about people wanting to express themselves through art, whereas in this, and good, you get back into the role again. Okay, then just get through to that minute. All right. Now the next one. What's really difficult is that when these pictures are put under your nose, if you don't have a very strong imagination, it's truly difficult, because some of these pictures and questions are ridiculous. And even as a native speaker, I don't think about this kind of thing. So I feel sorry for you guys who are preparing for these exams. Now, what I sort of found out is that when you want to do the part 2, and they put these pictures under your nose, look at the question, or the examiner will read it to you, and try to think of some kind of reference. Think about like some memory that you have, or something or other. And I remember, like, suddenly when I was in the London National Gallery looking at sort of classic art, you know, and I suddenly remembered that I like it because it's true art, because it requires talent and skill. So that's like a spontaneous thought in my head. That's going to be my first reference. And for some reason, because I don't like modern art very much, I'm going to use my discourse marker, whereas, and I'm going to find a kind of opposite, because I can say, well, in the first picture, of course, people enjoy classic art because classic art requires so much talent and skill. You know, you need to know how to use a brush, how to contrast colours, and it takes years to do something like this. Whereas I could basically be sick on my floor, and that's basically considered modern art, which requires absolutely no skill whatsoever. Perfect, you know, and I can say, you know, and people sometimes like looking at talentless work. Perfect, okay? So always sort of try to think of some kind of reference to start off with. That's your first point, and build on it. That's why you've got to practice all the time at home. Buy these trainers, you know, go online, find them, and practice continuously to get that right, okay, for your imagination. Okay, now as I said, find the link between pictures. I just showed you that with this, okay? Talent, that was my link. That has talent, that does not. That's my link. And then I'm thinking, okay, I've got another 30 seconds left. I can find another link that, oh, relaxing. Okay, that, oh, people like to look at art because it's relaxing. So before I had difference, now I've got a similarity. Again, that's contrasting, comparing. I'm fulfilling the requirements for FCE and CAE. Okay. A big mistake that students make is that they often spend too long on one picture, and then they get to about 50 seconds and then they start, you know, talking about the next one, and time has run out. So you've got to really learn to, you know, work with your time management. You have to spend, you know, about 50-50 on both pictures, or maybe, you know, 30 seconds on one topic, then 30 seconds on another topic like talent, and then on relaxing, something like that, okay? And you've got to practice that. You do need to have your discourse markers. So go through your vocab books, your grammar books, learn those words, whereas, while, although, however, on one hand, on the other hand, whereas in this picture, blah, 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 however, in this one. Don't try to use them too much because it sounds unnatural, okay? Maybe 3 or 4 in a minute, it will be absolutely fine, all right? Now, be relevant and give examples, not like a list. Now, if you want to sound as natural as possible, which will really help your marks, don't give a list form. In the first picture, they find the art relaxing. In the second picture, they find it relaxing too. In the first picture, it is classic art, whereas in the second picture, it is modern. That's just a list form. And you're also kind of just describing what you see and not speculating, which is not what the exam is about. Okay, I don't want a list. Be relevant. Don't go off on a tangent. Make sure you always answer that question. You must. Even if your English is fantastic, if you don't answer that question, the task is incomplete. You will fail. Now, can you give personal examples? Of course you can. Why not? So I can say, in the first picture, you know, people like to go to art galleries because they want to see all that sort of classic traditional art. I mean, I love going to them because I find them extremely sort of pleasant to look at because I'm an artist myself, blah, 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 blah. Fine. As long as you don't speak too much about that and answer the task and the other picture. Okay? Speak about your partner's picture. So what happens after you have spoken for 1 minute about these pictures, the examiner will ask your partner, and Griselda, what kind of place would you prefer to go to see the art? And therefore your partner will speak for about 20-30 seconds on one of the pictures and answer that question. So you don't say anything, your partner will. And then when your partner has pictures to talk about, then you will be asked the question on their pictures, where you speak for 20 or 30 seconds, okay? It's very, very, very simple. Simple. What's the cause of failure for part 2? Silence, because people do not have such a vivid imagination, they haven't practiced enough. They really don't know what to say, so the English might be fantastic, but just not being able to think of what to say, it's going to really sort of damage their chances, so to speak. Okay, it happens a lot. Task is often incomplete, like I just said. Sometimes people spend too long on one picture, they are irrelevant, they go off on a different path and don't answer the question. The other one is basic English. Because people are struggling to think of what to say, their brain power is not focusing on producing that English, they're focusing on the content of the answer. That's why I've told you in my introduction video, getting prepared for FCE CAE, lie. Use your imagination, because if you just speak rubbish like bleh, then it doesn't matter. Your brain can then focus on producing the English, okay? That's what you need to learn to do. It takes a lot of practice, it takes a lot of time, but it doesn't happen overnight, but you will do it if you follow my advice, okay? Now, that's basically part 2. What I'll do for you, okay, I think I'll try in the near future to get some friends of mine and colleagues to perform the entire FCE test for you, because the ones on YouTube, they're not bad, but I want to do it my way, okay? So I hope that was useful for you. I hope that gives you some idea what you need to do if you're preparing for the exam, alright? If you have any questions, please ask below and I'll answer them as soon as I can. Otherwise, subscribe, thumbs up, usual stuff. Okay, FCE CAE Part 3 next.